By the way, did you guys see my text that Alex Half-Life is on sale for $20?
Yeah, but it's
Didn't
VR
see that.
only.
It's
Yeah,
bad.
but Connor's got a VR system. I'm gonna have
I
one.
do, but I don't think it would handle it very well. Like you pretty much have to play on a Steam VR to really get the full aspects of Alex VR or Half-Life Alex.
I mean, I kind of wonder if the VR PS2 would be just good enough to handle
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, it's not so much the visual; it's the controllers. Like
Oh,
the controllers are designed to like the Steam VR is the most accurate way like that you can imagine picking something up
oh.
because it like actually like attaches to the back of your hands, and so you can fully let go of the controller, and that it can very well mimic each individual finger of yours as you pick it up, and that's a big part of the game of like picking things up is like using your whole hand to pick something up rather than just using your middle finger and your thumb.
I
It's
definitely
like mine buttons are very sensitive on the that basically if I just put my finger on the actual button, it'll trigger in game that you're grabbing something. So like it's very natural to like grab something with with your middle finger, ring finger, or not ring finger, index finger, and your thumb. But it's still like I still have to hold on to the controller. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, I'm taking a look at the controller right now.
Yeah, it's kind of a cool looking controller. And not to say that the PS VR 2, because that's what it's called, not PS2 VR, because that's a different thing, I guess. But it's PS VR 2.
Yeah.
It's very similar to what like a Rift controller. So that's the only problem I have with getting Alex's. Like it's designed for the controller of the Steam VR.
Right. At least like if the one I'm buying is at least decent enough, I would not mind that considering I only paid $20 for it. Like if I paid 60, I'd probably want to get, the VR headset to actually fully experience. But for 20,
Yeah.
I can muddle my way through.
Not a bad. Yeah. What are you guys' thoughts on that game I sent you about the Sainthood? Have you looked into that at all?
I
I
have
have
not
not
looked into it
looked.
yet.
It honestly looks good. I'm telling you.
What was it called again? So I can look at it.
Sainthood. It's on Steam.
There's a demo.
There is a demo. So we can play the demo. So James, you don't have to worry about your precious achievements.
Well,
You
sometimes
can just download the demo. It's $9.99. It's like you play as you're like a hermitage, like you're developing a
Communism.
Community.
no. No.
It's not communism, commune. Different.
Yeah, essentially, yeah.
Like
Yeah, actually, you know what? This looks pretty cool. The doors
Looks very cozy.
Right? So like you spend your day praying and like increasing, and like it's a strategic game.
Okay. All right. I'll try the demo.
Woo!
You peaked.
Sorry, let me pull this away. Woo!
Still peaked.
Actually, this would be really nice on the Steam Deck.
Improved billing loop.
I don't think it's on Steam Deck yet.
I'm sure somebody's made
It would be a
layout
great game for
scheme.
the Steam Deck, though. It would be a good game for the Steam Deck. It's cozy, relaxing, casual, strategic, story rich. Story rich, James.
This is like right up my alley.
Exactly.
You arrived on a mysterious island with no recollection of how you got there. No matter though the prioress is expecting you, chat with her and the custodians on the island and learn about their stories. Who knows? Perhaps.
And they actually have a book of actual saints.
Ooh.
Which is kind of cool if you scroll down a little bit. It's got Saint Kateri Tekakwitha,
Saint Elizabeth,
Saint Martin de Porres, Saint Josephine. I can't pronounce her last name.
That's kind of cool.
Betkita. Kita, what's wrong? See, it's like actually got Catholicism involved.
Which is rare for video games. Or
Prayer
anything based in
rosary in the
media.
sanctuary, and you can press and hold, and it goes by a
That's
certain
like
amount of
multiplayer.
hours. So like as the hours go by, like you're praying a half-hour rosary. See, yeah. I think we should all.
Yeah.
I think we should all download the demo, including you, dear listener. Download the demo. Give this community. It's their first game. I think it'd be a fun game. Oh, James already downloaded it. I've learned with my computer I can't download something. It just cuts off everything else. Basically, all my bandwidth goes to my gaming PC. And then
prioritizes.
Okay.
Yeah, that's why when I was downloading something earlier, it probably kicked me off of Discord. So, sainthood.
Oh, the opening menu music.
Yeah.
To ye.
Editor,
It's a
editor,
it's
leave all that in.
Gregorian chant. It's Gregorian chant.
Editor, you need
this
to.
Is so cool.
Editor, find some auto tune.
Make it perfect.
Auto tune, James, please. Thank you. So I think Sainthood would be a fun game to play, and I think it'd be a good game to review. But yeah, I'm trying to think what else. What else was I gonna say? I forget.
Interesting. It's got a it kind of feels like it's a port from like a mobile game. Just so you're aware. But
I mean, it's supposed to be a basic game. It's not supposed to be the most in-depth type of game.
Sure.
The graphics kind of remind me a little bit of that game Tunic. They were like a Fox Link.
Don't know what that game is. Sorry.
Look it up, Connor. You might like it. It's Tunic is basically one of the old Zelda games, like Oracles of Seasons.
So
it's that kind of a game.
You've sent this to me before. Yeah.
I play a little bit. It's like really, really hard Zelda.
Yeah. That looks like fun too.
What is really, really hard Zelda?
Tunic.
Oh, I did see this. Yeah. That looks interesting. It's like Dark Souls meets a isometric Zelda.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like while playing through, I figured out that you need to learn how to dodge and actually like do really good because you only have so much health and all the enemies are way stronger than you are. And you start the game out with a stick. Which technically, I guess in Zelda, you also start with a stick.
It's very sticky.
Yes.
Really
you start with a wood. Start with a wooden sword in Legends of Zelda.
It really sticks to you.
Stick to your guns.
So. Yeah.
On that note.
Yes. On that note, welcome everyone to Those Catholic Gamers, a podcast about Catholic guys coming together to talk about video games and their Catholic faith. I am James, your host, and today I am joined by Connor.
Yo.
And Joe.
Hello, dear listener.
Oh.
It was very.
Joe, you should start inside my eardrums.
It's just
dear listener, this is just for you. Yes, Steve, just for you. I know you're listening. Thank you. There's one guy, Steve, out there's like, oh, how does he know?
Steve's a pirate, actually.
Yar! Duck,
Steve
dive.
the pirate. Should I just like a pirate on our team?
Oh my goodness. Well, with all that, so as of today's recording, it is November 16th. So, guys, is there like any anniversary going on right now?
Half-Life anniversary, Half-Life 2. Was it 30th? It's 20th anniversary.
20th anniversary. So, on the not eve, but in celebration of such a fantastic game, we are going to be doing kind of a retrospective review of Half-Life 2. For those of you who do not know, and if you're listening to this podcast, you probably do, so just stay with us on this. Half-Life 2 is a sequel. to the critically acclaimed Half-Life. Half-Life 2 was developed and published by the company that we all know and love, Valve. Half-Life 2 picks up after the events of Half-Life, which Gordon Freeman, after agreeing to work with the G-Man, was placed into a stasis, waiting to be awakened. For Gordon, it feels like a couple of seconds. He is awoken by the G-Man and sent to 20 years in the future and placed onto a passenger train that is going into City 17. The world is now under the control of the Combine, an alien empire that is in control of the Earth. And while you are entering City 17, you are saved by a undercover resistance member who previously worked with you at Black Mesa. Gordon Freeman, through the help of that resistance member, reunites with some of his old colleagues from Black Mesa and teams up with Alex Vance, the daughter of one of the Black Mesa scientists who are also helping the resistance. With Alex, you attempt to infiltrate back into City 17 to put an end to the horrible atrocities that the Combine are inflicting on the population there. Just a quick disclaimer, we play on PC. This game did come out for, PS2 and Xbox back in the day?
Xbox 360 for sure. I don't think it came out for PS2.
Okay, so, I mean...
It might have. I shouldn't say that. It might have. I feel like if you go onto their Wikipedia, it'd be like, oh, it got released on PS2.
It's for everything. PlayStation
It's on everything.
PS3.
PS3, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, as you say, PS2 is a little too old for Half-Life's graphics, I feel like.
Yep, fair enough. So, yeah, Xbox 360, PlayStation 3, we've all played this on Windows. I've recently gone back and played with it on Linux as well, so you can run it there. And then, of course, before we start the discussion, we're always trying to grow our audience. We're at 30 of you wonderful people who are either following or subscribing on your different areas of where you find your podcasts. Thank you. Thank you for all of you out there listening. Please let others know that we are out here, and so that we can try to grow this audience even further. Please leave a review. Send us an email. You can always email us at catholicgamerspod@gmail.com. And once again, thank you for listening, sticking with us. We're here for the long run. So thank you again.
Yeah. We wouldn't be here if it weren't for the listeners.
We'd still be here, but
I
we
think
would
we
be lonelier.
We would be here, but we would be definitely lonelier.
Yes.
I want to say, I wanted to give the whole, the PBS, and for listeners like you.
Ah, yes.
But I couldn't. I'm not witty enough to do the whole PBS phrase off the top of my head. Look like an old man, James.
Yeah.
We're all on a video chat right now.
Well,
that's why.
I usually read like this, so I really look like an old man.
That really makes you look old.
I look like I'm 50 with glasses on. Yeah.
Speaking of people who have glasses, Gordon Freeman.
He does have glasses. He's got some very very nostalgic and very famous glasses.
Yeah,
kind of what he's known for.
Yeah. Well, what's funny is you actually don't know what he looks like, except from the box art.
Yeah, that's true. Because you never actually see his face in any of the games.
Because he's a self-insert for you, the player.
Oh, is that it?
Oh,
Me and my trusty crowbar.
Your crowbar. Gunk, gunk.
So.
Yes.
All right. Well, go ahead.
Also, another disclaimer: Joe hasn't actually finished this game because he got too tired at one part of it, so he's still in the process of playing through. But
it was a very, very long part. I think you guys
very long pause.
So, Joe, go ahead, Connor.
He got stuck at the helicopter part in Half-Life 2, which everybody listening to the podcast who's played Half-Life 2, which is probably every one of them, would be like, oh yeah, I know that part. That part's really hard. And then Joe's like, yeah, this part's too hard for me, so I'm gonna quit because it's too hard. And then he actually beat it, and he's like, "Oh, actually, this is the rest of it. It's not bad." I'm like, "Yeah, it's because it's the biggest like roadblock in the whole game, and then once you get past that, it's all like actually fun."
So to interpret what Connor's saying is it was incredibly hard at that part, and I just got frustrated because I got turned around at one point in the speedboat, and I was like, this doesn't really make much sense. So I quit. And I knew it was a good game, but it was old enough that I didn't really have a draw to come back to it. And you guys swore up and down that I should, and so I did, and it was good. And I thank you for that.
And currently, right now, 100% off on Steam. So go out and get it for free,
100%
yo. 100% off.
Hold up.
Free.com.
Well, and then Joe, I don't know if you saw this, but they've combined the episodes that come after the main story into Half-Life 2, so you get all three of them. Hi, Joe's wife.
Oh. Yeah,
I wasn't gonna say anything. I'm just waving.
I just saw there's something called the Orange Box, and I can get a whole bunch of stuff for only $1.
$1, Bob.
The only thing I don't have is Team Fortress 2.
Ooh, you don't. I thought you did have that.
No,
It's
because I've got no one
free.
to play with.
Get it, yo. Get free.
It's free. It's a free
Joe.
download.
Joe, me and James will play with you.
Okay,
They fixed the bots, so
Well, for now.
yeah. But I mean, now is the time to play it. So,
all right,
which I will not be able to
$2.
play with you guys for next week.
That's okay. That's okay.
My new job is now.
We still have to finish the It Takes Two.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
So we still got to finish that. But anyway, back to Half-Life 2. Half-Life 2 for me is probably in the top 2 games ever made, and it's not number 2. It is so good.
It's 1.75.
It's definitely not 1.75. But it's one of those games that, like, okay, if you've played the first one, you're like, okay, I've played through that, and it's that also critically acclaimed, great game. They took the first one and just ratcheted it up to 100, and it's just so good. Like, the storytelling is actually good. Like, I was telling the guys before the stream, before the podcast, that for me, I'm not a story guy. We've covered this in the podcast. The only reason why I actually know stories of games is because they have unskippable cutscenes. And for me, is the biggest frustration in the world. But there's no skippable cutscene in Half-Life 2. And so I actually know the story behind it, and which is super cool. And like the story of the game, you're so engrossed into it that it's just you can't miss it playing through the game. Like, it's so good. Just being able to come in the middle of nowhere and pick up right where you left off of the first Half-Life, and then the cliffhanger at the end, which obviously spoiler alert, before we get into this, because we'll be talking
sorry,
about
Joe.
if you haven't played it, we're gonna be finishing it. You've had 20 years to play this game, Joe. I'm sorry.
No, I watched somebody else not play through it, but like talk about it. And I know how great of a game it is.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But like there's just so much going on with it that from the visuals, like for me, this game will always be a modern game. Even if it's 20 years old, it still will always be a modern game. You could never consider this a classic because it is timeless. Just from the setting, from the overall visuals, they're going to be releasing an RTX version of the game, which I will be buying. And then like the mesh of the combat, the physics engine, just the introduction of the gravity gun, which is like one of the most unique weapons in all of gaming. From it and then all of the mods that spawned from it, from Gary's mod to Counter-Strike to all these different things that you can do within the game, to the Skibbity Toilet song. That's all the thing, Skibbity baba, yeah, whatever the kids are saying now.
Oh, what are those videos called that use the graphics? Is it like something.
SKT, no, STK. There's like there is a Gary's mod. Is that what you're saying?
No, like there's videos made online that like use the Half-Life source, and they use it for like
Machinimas.
video. What?
Machinimas.
I don't think it's Machinimas, but
Machinima's
I'll
like
remember it.
advent of like YouTube type thing.
Yeah, but I mean, at
But,
least like Ross, like the guy I had mentioned previously, Ross Scott. His claim to fame is Freeman's Mind, where he is voicing the internal thoughts of Freeman as he's playing the game. And it's incredibly well written because he starts off as just like this devil may care kind of guy, and as he's like progressing through the story, he gets more and more insane. And then what was it? He also did a couple of ones where it was like two combine soldiers talking to each other, kind of thing. It was very, very fascinating.
Yeah. And like just like the culture that came about from it, and like how it's influenced so many games that you wouldn't even believe, like BioShock and modern ones like The Last of Us. And just memes that come about from it. And it's just to this day, it's still poignant to a lot of culture within gaming. That it's just so much has been influenced from Half-Life 2 that like it's just cultural like phenomenon. It's such a great game that it just transcends time. That it's always gonna, like I said, it's always gonna be a modern game for me, no matter how old it is.
Civil protection. That's the name of the thing I'm thinking of.
And I found the name of the thing that I was thinking of as well. It's called SFM animation. Stands for source filmmaking, and it's a movie making tool from Valve that allows the user to create, edit, and render 3D animation videos. So it's the source engine for Valve, which makes sense why it's very similar to Half-Life and Team Fortress 2.
Yep, all those were based off the source engine.
Yerp.
And that's why we have the Skibbity toilet right now, which is literally
Brain rot?
transcending brain rot. Yep, that's all it is. It's weird. Don't actually think I've actually seen a video of Skibbity toilet, but I don't think I ever will. Sorry, Zoomers listening. Probably lost you all. We probably got our first
Isn't
1-star
Joe
rating.
Zimmer?
Yeah, I think technically.
I'm around the cutoff, like 2000 or 1996.
Are you a
Some people
Mazoom?
consider
Are you a Mazoomer?
I suppose so. The thing is, like, I have two little sisters, so growing up with them, I definitely more
Mm-hmm.
affiliate with the Zoomer humor than I do the millennial humor.
Yeah. What was it? Zillennial is something I
Yeah.
think something I could technically be considered because I'm the oldest and my brothers were 2000 and I was hanging out with them and getting involved with video games with them and stuff. So
Yeah, I mean, I hung out with a bunch of younger kids too, so like, I got, and now I got to a certain point where I was still understanding the humor, and then now it's at a point where I just don't care.
yeah, no.
I just don't care, and it's just so weird now that I'm just like, okay, I don't care.
Fair
But
enough.
yeah, I mean, what do what
Yeah,
do we want?
Joe, how about you? Like, what's your story? How did you become aware of Half-Life 2, and how did you get involved?
I had a buddy in high school who was older than I was. We played D&D. Small town, so not really a lot of choices of nerds out there.
Like 12 people.
Yeah. Actually, it was more like 1, 2, 3, 4, 4. But
All
he
of
was
you
going to
and
show
your
me.
sisters.
No. We had the nerd who didn't shower. The older guy who couldn't get a better job, so we just stayed in Bison. And
Who
then
also
his
probably
little
didn't
brother.
shower.
No, that none of them showered. I was the cleanest nerd in that household.
Sounds like a typical D&D session.
Or any like local Comic-Con thing. I remember going to a Sioux Falls Comic-Con with a buddy of mine because he really wanted to go. I stepped foot in the place. I was like, yeah, no. It was really bad.
Yeah,
Not
I
to
refuse
knock
go to
on
any more
D&D.
Comic-Cons.
I do love D&D. I played it myself, but that's
Connor's the
just- it's just-
smelliest D&D nerd.
I am. Min-maxer all the way, baby. Just kidding.
But yeah, so he showed me Dark Souls and a couple other games, and that was one of the games he had showed me. Although, instead of getting into Half-Life, I got into Gary's mod. That's a lot of the games we played was like Slender Man on Gary's mod, or this other game on Gary's mod. So I was aware of Half-Life, and it wasn't until college that I actually picked it up, played a little bit of it, and then it was like, it's a little too, I just didn't grab me right away because I had other games that were based off of Half-Life, so it already kind of those games scratched that itch. And it wasn't until recently that I actually came back to it and finished. Well, am working on it.
Hey, better late than never.
It's true.
That's very true.
I need to replay through it. Well, I'll probably replay it through it when RTX comes out and play then. Because I have an RTX 38 or 3070. So I can actually use it. You plebeians wouldn't be able to understand the power of lighting. That's all RTX is. Just ray tracing. I mean, it's gonna look really cool. It's gonna be the same game, just looking really cool. That's basically the whole point of it.
Wouldn't you just play Black Mesa then?
I do have Black Mesa. That's the first one.
Oh, is that just number one?
Yeah,
Yep,
that's the community
Half-Life.
remake with Half-Life's blessing, or with Valve's blessing, for a graphical update.
Got it. But
Sweet.
Half-Life 2 does not have a graphical update.
No, that's what the Half-Life RTX is gonna be.
But Joe, as you're well aware, it really doesn't need it.
No, it still holds up pretty well. And the AIs can be clunky, but the AI can also be pretty good.
Yeah.
Or at least maybe they do a good job of like making the enemies feel alive. I'm just thinking of like that very first time you meet a guard who wants you to pick up that can.
He beat you to death until you pick it up.
Good stuff.
Mhm.
That's what I'm
No,
here for.
actually, so that was what was it? That was on purpose to actually show off people like, hey, you can pick things up and throw it, or you can throw it at the person, and there's different reactions because of it. So,
Good times.
mhm.
Yeah, and like that was the great thing where beforehand you would like before Half-Life 2, you just wasn't an option. Like you couldn't pick up anything. Like it just wasn't like an idea figment of people's imaginations. And then all of a sudden you could pick something up and carry it around. And then it sounds so rudimentary, but it's so game changing at the same time. You know? And like being able to follow like cutscenes in a live action, like people would be talking, and then you could like walk away and their voice would fade out, and then you would walk closer and they would get louder, and you're just like, whoa, what is this? Like something you're like, yeah, that's like totally normal now. That's because of Half-Life 2.
Yes.
You know? And that's why it's like so difficult to make a Half-Life 3, because there's so much that's already been made now that it would be hard for a Half-Life 3 to change as much as Half-Life 1 and Half-Life 2 like changed everything. Because where I was reading, the time difference between Half-Life 1 and Half-Life 2 is 6 years.
Yeah.
That's how long it took for that to come out. And now it's been 20 years and we still don't have a Half-Life 3.
Well, yeah, because Gabe Newell can't count to 3.
Yeah, it's in the song and everything.
Yeah. That, and they also make more money off of other things now too. So
Mm-hmm.
they don't make money off of games. They make money off of Steam.
Would you consider Half-Life Alyx Half-Life 3?
No, it's a prequel.
Oh.
Before Gordon shows up.
It's also Half-Life 3 is gonna be Half-Life 3. So if it ever comes out, there's rumblings again around the internet. If you want to follow random stuff on the internet, that Half-Life 3 is confirmed again. It is. I just think it's so hilarious that
I love that meme. It's so great.
It's just like like legitimate news article outlets are being like, "Oh, Half-Life 3 could be a thing now," and it's just like, no, they're not gonna do it. Like, there's no, it's just no, they're never gonna do a Half-Life 3 because then you would ruin the memes, and it's all about the memes, yo. Memes for the dreams. But
Yeah. Yeah.
do we want to talk about story? Well, you kind of covered a lot of story in general, but like,
So yeah, I've covered some of it. I really haven't gotten to I haven't really covered my story, but my story is not much. What was it? I remember hearing of Half-Life once a long time ago, and they said it was a horror game or it had horror elements, and so I had no interest. And I think I got Half-Life and Half-Life 2. Actually, I'm pretty sure who convinced me was my friend Thomas back in Sioux Falls. And he was like, "Oh, you have to play this," because he's a huge Half-Life fan, and we played Team Fortress 2 and all that. So I picked it up, played through it, and I was like, "Wow, this is no, Connor, you're right on the money. This is one of the greatest games of all time, and it still holds up." And that was 2013,
yeah,
2014 when I
hmm
played it, and I've played through it multiple times. It's a great game. But yeah, don't have much. I don't much have a background on this, but yeah, go ahead, Connor.
yeah, and like, there's so many cool like elements of the game, right? So like, when you transition from one sector to the other, like it's a very slow urban decay that you kind of see throughout the whole game, where buildings are run down and like different landscapes are run down, and you're just kind of running from building to building. Um, from that, like when Joe got stuck fighting the helicopter, you're in a giant waterway that's got walls on each side that doesn't feel like you're like locked in, but you're just traveling just to survive, and you're trying to get out of town and trying to get into this giant massive tower in the middle of this space that you're just climbing towards. So that there is great puzzles that are involved with it as well, that allow you to experiment with the physics engine and experiment with different sections of the engine that previously were impossible to do. Great puzzles, and yeah, just allowing yourself to a very unique atmosphere that just can't hasn't really ever been recreated in any game since. You really kind of dive into the atmosphere along with the story. Like, you can't talk about one without the other. It's like, especially like the resistance and finding Eli and Judith, try to kind of following them and them just kind of guiding you along with Alex. Like, Alex is such like a great female character, where she's very unique, very much badass, but not a badass to be a badass. Like, she is very feminine at the same time, while also being like a strong woman, which is something that is great and very refreshing, that you're not getting shoved down your throat with feminism or anything
Mhm.
random like like that. Like, she's just a great character.
Yeah, the only female character I can think of that even comes close to Alex's presence in a game and importance in a game is Elizabeth from uh, BioShock Infinite. And
Yeah.
to be honest, like, what was it? Honestly, they did her dirty in BioShock Infinite. Like they
Yeah.
kind of like they undercut her with a message instead of just
Yeah.
letting her character stand out. Alex is just there to help, and she has her own thing. Like she they definitely are kind of beginning to write some sort of like not love triangle, but definitely like there's a connection between her and Gordon, which I mean, go figure, right? You're making a character like fall in love with you as you're playing a game. But it's to an extent that like you actually feel for this person. Like it almost feels like she's real.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, she has a personality. She stands by herself. She's been living in this world for her entire life, and is just a badass.
Yeah, and she's really like guiding you along in in the universe as well, right? James said at the very beginning, as Gordon Freeman, you're just dropped out of stasis into this world again, and it's something that she really then guides you through, and she's a very pivotal part of the story, um, and really explains to you what's going on, and like introducing you to Dog and all that. And Joe hasn't been introduced to Dog yet,
Yeah, he
but
has.
like,
If he's gone to Ravenholm, he's met Dog.
Yeah, I went and got some slam dunks.
oh, that's right. Wait, does Ravenholm come after?
Yeah.
Or Dog comes after Ravenholm, doesn't it?
No,
Was it before?
it's before.
Okay, okay, I'm getting mixed up on my story. But like figuring that out and getting the gravity, she gives you the gravity gun. Like she is the one that introduces you to the everything, and at the very end, you're the one trying to save her, or she sacrificed herself for you, and then all of a sudden, wham, you're like thrown back into stasis as this massive explosion's happening.
Yeah, you get pulled right at the minute, or right at the last minute. And I mean, if I was playing this in 2003 with that ending, I would be so pissed.
Right? That's the problem. That's why people want a third one, because they want this story to continue on.
Well,
Granted, we've had
they want
episode
conclusion.
we have episode 1 and 2.
Hmm.
So like we do have a little bit more of a story, but those leave you even more of a like cliffhanger. Like there
Well,
just needs
they kill off a main character at the end of 2. And I mean, like, what was it? This game came out 2004. Episode 1 comes out in like 2007. Portal comes out like not long afterward, and then episode 2 comes out 2 years later.
yeah.
Like, you don't even get the full conclusion of the story until 2009, and even then there's more to it, and
Yeah.
you're left with another cliffhanger.
Yeah, I think they just need to have a Half-Life 3 just to wrap it up and just to give some type of semblance of a conclusion. Just because and just like say, "Hey, we're done with Half-Life. We're done with it. You can make prequels, you can make a somewhat a different type of character other than Gordon Freeman." But like that's just kind of at this point that's just what the gaming industry needs. Or they cannot and just be like, "Hey, sucks to suck. Just live with it." And I mean, I think that's just another option. Like, you either have to confirm that we're gonna make a Half-Life 3 or have to confirm that we're never gonna make a Half-Life 3 ever. Because that's what what's his name, the owner of Steam, or
Gabe Newell.
Valve, Gabe Newell. He's not like he's never confirmed or denied it, you know? He's very much like, "Oh, maybe. Maybe we'll make another one. Maybe we won't. I don't know."
Yeah. Well,
And then he
they were hinting at kind of having Portal and a Half-Life combine.
which would be great. That'd be super fun. And now that they have the Source 2 engine, they could do so much more. Like there's so much more lighting stuff they can do, more physics-based stuff that add to the Source 2 engine that could add some different unique styles of gameplay. So it's possible now. It's possible. Dreams possible, people. It's possible. Half-Life 3 confirmed. I don't know.
Yeah. As of the recording, where are you at in the story?
Who, me?
Yes, you.
Let's see here. I'm like halfway through Ravenholm.
Oh, okay.
Dude, you gotta get out of Ravenholm.
You're like halfway through the game.
Oh.
Yeah, you gotta keep plugging away there, bro. Put it on your
Things-
Steam Deck. Put it on your Steam Deck and go from there.
I just have other games I'm into right now. That's the problem.
I mean,
Currently
that is
playing
nice.
Pal World.
That is one nice thing about Half-Life 2 is you can put it. The story is simple enough where you can just kind of pick it down and put it down and pick it back up if you really want to. I found it too engaging where I pushed.
I did too.
I played through it. I think almost in one sitting, maybe two. But
Well, that's why I think I'm coming at it from the wrong time period because, like you guys said, a lot of modern games have taken elements from Half-Life 2 because it's so revolutionary. But the problem is now other people have had time to perfect what Half-Life 2 tried and did really well at. Or they just copy it one for one. And so now going back, I'm like, oh, well, this other game already did that. But that's because Half-Life 2 did it first.
Sure. What
Yeah.
games come to mind for you, Joe, that have different elements that you're seeing in Half-Life 2?
I'm trying to remember, like, definitely the picking up and using items to your own advantage. That's Half-Life 2 definitely does that the best. I'm trying to remember other games I've played that have done that, where it actually allows you to interact with the items.
Skyrim.
I guess, but like you can't use them as weapons though, unless you count like
Yeah.
using the bucket to immobilize an
Cover.
enemy.
Cover their head and
eyes
steal.
and steal everything.
You can't see me. Stole your clothes.
Let's see here. Portal and Portal 2 don't count because
Yep.
that's just an extension of that. Gary's Mod doesn't count.
Mm-mm. So I guess like that's something really unique about that game, especially with the gravity gun.
Mm-hmm.
Where once I got the gravity gun, that really unlocked that, and I was like, all right, now I feel like I've got something to play for.
Sure. I guess BioShock actually kind of plays off of that.
Yeah.
The
You get like
telekinesis.
electrocute people.
Well, there's a telekinesis, right, where you can like pick things up and throw it.
Yeah.
So
That is part of the game.
mm-hmm.
I guess puzzles. Half-Life 2 did really good with puzzles. Like you have to weigh down the one. I'm trying to think of what it's called, elevator thing, whatever. So that way you can get to a different part of the level. Boxes,
yeah. You can, put boxes on something, or you go under the water with like water cans, and that go up, they float, and that causes another thing to rise.
Exactly. So something like Breath of the
Pretty early
Wild
on.
takes advantage of that as well. And I would say Breath of the Wild, for a couple of the dungeons, because they definitely put way too many dungeons in Breath of the Wild. But I would say it almost does that better because there's more puzzle mechanics they can take advantage of. But Half-Life 2 did first.
They did.
I guess the shooting mechanics, a lot of first-person shooters take advantage of that as well.
That is another thing that I really do love about this game is the shooting does feel really good.
Feels weighty, like
Yeah.
especially with like the crossbow that shoots the bolts. Like when you shoot that and stick someone to a wall, you're just like, yeah. Like you just thunk, and then they just dunk. Like
Or just the crowbar.
Like, and then that guy came from the first game, right? Like the thunkiness came from, they just evolutionized the first game from that, because that was a big part of revolution. Excuse me, you're right. Revolution, not evolutionized. Well, revolution. I mean, I would say the first game revolutionized, and then the second game evolutionized, right? So it's a adding to the initial thunkness of the first game. Like you don't have the thunkiness of the crowbar unless you have the first game and the crowbar. And that's like very iconic for the series itself too. So there's that. Yeah, there's just a wide variety, and like being able to shoot barrels and like see them slowly start on fire and then explode. Like that's a cool like little added touch that you don't get in a lot of other games.
Actually, yeah, that's a good point. I think they're one of the first ones where it was like red barrel equals explosion, shoot it and it will explode.
The first game.
Okay, yeah, I was gonna say, what
The
about
first game too.
007 for the N64? But first game, yeah, would be before that, right?
Goldfinger?
GoldenEye.
Granted, in GoldenEye, everything explodes. Computers.
GoldenEye was
Boxes.
97, August of 97.
Half-Life's 98.
Okay. So that's just part of just gaming culture in general.
Yeah. Well, Doom may have also done that too.
Yeah. But you also have like Half-Life has a way bigger weight of like scope of reality than GoldenEye does. But we're not talking about Half-Life. We're talking about Half-Life 2. And like GoldenEye was revolutionized the multiplayer, right? The split screen, whereas Half-Life 2 revolutionized the story, connecting story with gameplay and puzzle. Like you have all three of those things that combine, and then the physics engine just allows you to just mess around with stuff. Like you don't have to go in and just shoot everybody. Like you can pick up the gravity gun and pick up a barrel and throw it into a dude, and he's just gonna get splatted, and you kill him that way. Or you can take the dead body of another person and throw that into another. Like
Or the saw blades, the
saw
tasty saw
blades.
blades.
Saw blades are great, and like those just stick into walls, and then you're just like, all right, just pull it out of the wall and just throw it through another zombie. And
I
then
was gonna
like,
say you don't have to worry about the zombies getting back up. Like I found with the shotgun, the head crab, is that what they are in this
yeah,
game?
yep, head crabs.
Head crabs come right off and attack you, but with a saw blade, it nullifies it since they're just cut in half.
Right. Which also like is part of the first game, right? Head crabs were part of the first game, but then they turned it into zombies in the second game. Like that was the evolution of the head crab.
Yeah, tell me a
Was
little bit
it
more about the head crab thing. Like, I know aliens are involved in the game. I know in the end you like go to the moon or somewhere like
no,
that.
no, there's like a giant a skyscraper in the middle of the town, and you go to the skyscraper, and you're trying to get to the head of Black Mesa.
Okay.
Yeah, you're trying to find the head of Black Mesa.
So how do the zombies or head crabs come about?
So head crabs are a alien creature that the Combine. So the Combine is a intergalactic, interdimensional group of aliens that are going around and taking over different areas. And during the Residence Cascade that you caused in Half-Life, that opened up a portal for them to pour in. And through that, the Combine comes in and takes over the Earth. The head crabs are one of these aliens that I think either work with the Combine or are just kind of like on the back end of just like we have rats and they have head crabs. They're just and what they do is they attack the head and then they basically take control of that thing and turn it into some sort of walking zombie corpse.
Yeah, they use the victims as like a pseudo parasite or as like a host
Mm-hmm.
Right.
to make more head crabs. Kind of like a xenomorph kind of esque, right?
Mm-hmm.
Where they're kind of an outside version of a xenomorph where like instead of a chest burster, it's they stick onto the head and then they reanimate the body.
Oh yeah, well they kill the person by
They kill the
attaching the head.
host. Yeah, they kill the host and then reanimate it.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, and it's a cool little addition on to the actual game. That allows you to go through Ravenholm and like see that like Alex's family has been destroyed by Ravenholm, right? Ravenholm used to be their home, and then now you're going through it and trying to not like you're just trying to get to the end of Ravenholm so that because you get off the train and you're just trying to go through different checkpoints in the game to get to the middle. And that's how you have like kind of instead of a straight path, you're more of a zigzagging through the town. In different towns and different side skate or like valleys and farmlands and stuff just to get to the center, to get
Okay.
to the head of Black Mesa.
Because I just encountered the stronger head crab enemy, or whatever.
Oh yeah, the one
That's the
that's
part that I
like,
got to.
yeah,
It's
those
like
things
leaping around
suck.
the buildings, climbing up stuff.
Yeah, those things suck. So yeah, just keep plugging away. I understand you like playing Power World, but you please, for the love of Mary, Joseph, and Jesus, finish the game, Joe. Just do it.
I know.
It's so good.
You won't regret it. I'll tell you that
No.
much.
Yeah.
You really won't.
You will see games in a different light.
Mhm.
It's like reading the Iliad. You know, everything connects to it.
True.
So, all right. Any other thoughts or?
No, I kind of think I had everything I wanted to talk about. Ratings? Do we want to talk about ratings? I think
Yeah,
we're kind of at
yeah.
that
I
point.
was kind of before we get into ratings, if there was anything else we wanted to discuss about this before we dive into that.
I guess something that like I haven't encountered because I haven't played this game all the way through yet, but something that somebody else commented on that is a good thing. Um, is that cutscenes will happen no matter if you're looking at them or not.
Mm-hmm.
And that actually helps build the world. It's not like, hey, this whole thing is like on a stage for you to watch. Instead, things just happen naturally in the world. And if you miss it, it still like gives you this eerie feeling of what would just happen. There's a huge crashing noise behind me, and now the doctor who I was with is gone.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
everybody kind of experiences the game a little bit differently, which is a good thing.
yeah, and that's a first. I mean that was definitely played or that was first done, I believe, in Half-Life, but that was really done masterfully in Half-Life 2, and then you begin to see other games that do that to relatively good or bad effect, right? So BioShock does that. Most games nowadays, especially like your first person shooters, do that. So pretty much all of Call of Duty is kind of like that, where you can look around, but you're kind of stuck in. They're kind of like force feeding you the story. You can't just move around in the environment, but
Yeah.
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 Alrighty, yeah. So with that, we'll dive into ratings. At those Catholic Gamers, we try to rate games on a moral basis, utilizing the old USCCB's movie ratings, a 1 through O, and then after that, we'll give this a subjective rating. And I'm willing to bet $1 million what Connor is going to put this on his subjective rating. um, so. But Joe, being that you haven't, or given to what you've played so far, what would your moral rating be?
I'm thinking an A3 because it deals with a lot of horror elements. I can't remember if they swear or not. There might be a little bit of swearing. There's no nudity or anything like that, but definitely the violence, the horror aspects, especially with the head crabs and all of just Ravenholm, is absolutely
Mhm.
terrifying for a younger audience. So I'd probably say an A3.
All right, Connor.
Yeah, I kind of give it an A3 too. There's definitely some horror elements. There is some more moral like quandaries that you have to deal with in just playing through the game and just realizing not everything revolves around you.
Mhm.
So you have to make decisions, quasi decisions. There's not like any decisions you make at the end. So like you're not given choices of A or B. You're just given a task to just
You
go
can't get
do
the
it.
good ending.
Yeah,
The ending
there's
is
no
the
good
good
ending,
ending.
no matter what.
Yeah.
Um, so I would give it an A3 as well. Just because there is just a lot going on. There's decent amount of violence. There's explosions and you're getting trapped in prisons and all this other stuff.
Gotta love your Michael Bay explosions.
Yeah, yeah. So I'd give it A3 because it is also a rated M game. So like you can't really justify saying a teenager, "Hey, go play this."
hmm
So I would give it an A3.
Perfect. What was it? Before we jumped on, I was talking to Connor about what I would rate this, and at first I was thinking A2, and then I actually went back into my library where I have all of my games already pre-sorted to what my kind of gut feel is for the game, and it's actually under A3 as well. So I'll leave it there. And yeah, you guys pretty much hit all of the nails there. So yeah, I'd say it sounds like we're all in alignment there. And then Connor, we'll start with you on the subjective ratings. What would you?
I'll go back to my initial thought within the pod was it's in my top 2 of games and it's not number 2.
There you have it, Joe. From what you've played so far.
Gosh, that's a really hard one. So, as somebody who didn't grow up with it, I personally would probably give the game 8 or 9 out of 10 because it is really, really good. And I know it is subjectively one of the games that changed games forever. But if I was giving like what does my gut say about the game of like what historically it's done for gaming, it would be a 10 out of 10. Like I know it should be a 10 out of 10 on my list. And if I had grown up with it, it would obviously be the 10 out of 10.
But
No, that's it.
fair enough.
So I guess that makes it an 18 if I put in my own score and what it should be. So there you go. Connor, you only said a 10 out of 10. Mine's an 18 out of 10.
Nice.
Quick math.
Quick math. Steiner math.
Quick math.
Alrighty. Yeah, I would say this is one of those games that is rightfully on the best video games of all time kind of lists, usually number 1 if not number 2. This is like the Shawshank Redemption of video games. This is one of the best. And
Citizen Kane, baby. Citizen Kane.
I actually own Citizen Kane. I don't know if you knew that.
Citizen Kane's a great movie.
It's a
Citizen Kane
fantastic movie.
Also did have the exact same thing where a lot of movie tropes come from Citizen Kane. If you watch Citizen Kane now, you're just like, well, what's the big deal with this? Like, I already know what's gonna happen here. It's like, you know what's gonna happen here because of Citizen Kane and because of all the tropes of the game, like movies come from that because it's so good and it was so groundbreaking for the 1930s.
Yep, absolutely. Well, here's a fun fact for you. We'll leave with some fun facts. So with Citizen Kane, you know how when they're going into the giant house,
the mansion.
The mansion, thank you. And it looks like they passed through the like a fence, like an iron wrought fence. Well, what they did is because these cameras were massive. They were like 5 feet across by 3 feet long, just these huge things. They had to time it perfectly where they would actually split the gate or split the fence so they could provide the illusion that you just passed through a fence instead of, just seeing what actually was happening. So, it's just kind of like all of the little idiosyncrasies that we pretty much nowadays think of as, oh, of course, that's in a movie. Of course you're able to do that. That was done because of Citizen Kane, and we can really pretty much do the same thing with Half-Life 2. Absolutely.
Show.
Anything else, Joe?
No. Good game. I'm ready for the
Game,
wrap
game
up.
good, guys. Game good.
Ready? Game's the goodest.
Game pretty good. Game pretty good. It's pretty good. Pretty good.
Alrighty. Well, with all that being said, thank you for listening. If you like this podcast and if you like this episode, please leave us a review and follow this podcast. You can always email us again at catholicgamerspod@gmail.com. Connor, he is our streamer friend. So if you always want to join us or just watch us play some games, Connor is streaming on Tuesdays from 7:30 Central Time to about 9:30 or 9 Central Time at twitch.tv/Fatal Condor. Feel free to join us there.
Come be friends.
Yeah,
Come be friends with us.
Come be friends with us. So, but yeah. Well, anything else, you guys?
Yeah. Actually, I knew I have my own streaming channel now. Mustache Man 99413. Currently playing Ocarina of Time. I'm still in the menu naming system. We're on part 98. Looking forward to another hour stream. Just kidding. No, I don't have
Connor,
that.
you look so confused.
I was like, what the hell, Joe? Why didn't you tell me about this?
I'm surprised you got hung up on that. Not that I'm in the naming menu. I'm on part 98.
No, it's not. It's not the naming. That you would get stuck up on. It'd be the character development and like making your own character on Ocarina of Time. Gotta find that perfect name.
Connor.
Yeah. Come hang out, make a comment in the Spotify, and we have a couple people. If we have a couple ratings for those Catholic gamers, I'm gonna try to figure out how I can live stream in both those Catholic gamers YouTube channel and on my Twitch channel. So we might be able to do like a dual stream thing going on. But I think if I were to do it with my current service of OBS Labs, I'd have to pay for it. So I need to switch over to OBS Studios, and then I have to transfer all of my overlay stuff, and I probably should just get a new overlay, to be honest.
I think also YouTube has put a kibosh on that. It's either one or the other.
That's not true.
I know of one guy who, what was it? He
if you're sponsored,
I think it's if you're either sponsored or if you're getting paid, you have to do one or the other.
Yeah. Okay, guess what? We free agents, baby. Ain't no sponsors here. So we could do whatever the heck we want.
We do this for no money right now.
Well, would we ever do this for money?
I mean, if
we make any money?
Unless we get enough of a following that we have some Patreon or some supporters, then we could think about
local supporters or whatever.
Yeah,
we need to start doing some goals then. So if we get 150 likes on this podcast alone, Connor's gonna shave his beard.
I was gonna say his left eyebrow, but
yes,
shave my right nipple.
Just for you, viewers. Just for you.
I'll do it on stream.
Oh, goodness gracious. Okay, I'm going to wrap this up. Thanks for everyone. Thank you for hanging in with us and cringing through all of that. Once again, we're praying for you. Pray for us. Thank you for listening, and God bless.
God bless.
Bye. Bye. Have a great time.
Goodbye, Craig.
I would shave my nipple on stream.